Thank you, Sarah. Thank you, everybody, for coming. This is being simulcast all over Latin America with our partnership with NBA Latin America. So, bienvenidos a todos mis amigos y amigas en Latinoamericano y Mexico. How'd I do? Victor, did okay?
Yeah.
All right. High school Spanish still works. This is a happy, sad day. This is a day when we say goodbye to Eduardo Najera as a player, and he starts his brand new career, which is really exciting. Eddie started it here 12 years ago, and it's amazing. You blink, and there goes a career. He carried the baton for not only youth in the United States, but in Mexico and all over Latin America, like few others, with his good old-fashioned Eddie hard work, diving on the floor for loose balls. He forged out a 12-year, very successful career that all of our youth across the world can be very proud of. And so we say goodbye to Eddie as a basketball player, as a head coach. He's going to be head coach of the Texas Legends. He's also going to have a part ownership stake with the Texas Legends, and then he will be helping me in all the basketball decisions that we make here in the Dallas Mavericks. So it's a management, ownership, and coaching opportunity that is really a special one and second to none. So congratulations, Eddie, and I'd like to pass the baton at this point to our owner, Mark Cuban.
You know, I had to come down and say a few words about Eddie because Eddie's got a special place in my heart. When I first bought the team, my very first draft, I wanted to make a big splash. And so we were out, I had Nelly out there buying draft picks left and right. I mean, I was a walking checkbook and every other team saw me coming. 3 million here, 3 million there, 3 million there. And so we had and so we had 3 first-round picks, Natan Thomas, Denal Harvey, and Courtney Alexander. And Natan made it through, but the other guys didn't quite last so long. But when we got to the second round, we had made a trade with Houston and ended up with the 33rd pick. And I'm like, I'm taking this pick. Because I remember in the war room, we'd go around the room talking about draft picks, and they were like, I like this guy a little bit, I like this guy a little bit. I'm like, enough with this little bit stuff, right? So I'm going to make this pick. And so we were going down the board, and I'm like, we're talking about everybody. And it just so happens there was one guy that when he came in, we didn't have enough guys to work him out. So me and one of our guys, Gallo, that used to be here, played 2-on-2 with Eddie, and who was the other guy?
Remember? The ball boy.
And no, the guy who was a potential draft pick, and of course I shut him down, and I'm like, but he's really good. So I just stood up and I said, okay, this is my first draft. This is my first draft pick, and you know they were telling me stories about how tough he is and this and that. And I was like, is that the same guy I got? But I'm like, this is my guy. So with the 33rd pick of the 2000 draft, we selected Eddie Najera, and a few months later, he was starting in his first game for the Dallas Mavericks, and just making everybody, you know, turn their head and notice that he was going to be a player, a great example, a great guy, great teammate, a great friend. And so it's, you know, bittersweet, as Donnie said, that he's retiring, but it says a lot about who Eddie is, that he lasted this long, and he continues to give back to the community, and now he's back in Dallas as the coach of the Legends. So congratulations to Eddie. I'm really proud. Thanks.
I'll give you credit on Eddie. You didn't have any input on Courtney Alexander. Come on, baby. Owners have the right to have selective memory. I've gotten that part. That's why Eddie said, listen, if I'm going to do any coaching, I'm going to be a part owner too.
Smart.
But it's great. Eddie's been a special guy in my heart as well. We established a relationship really quickly because I helped him with his Spanish. And then he's just such a wonderful guy, a great player and a coach's player because of the way he plays and the kind of person that he is. Now, you know, on behalf of the Legends, have to give Donnie credit, first of all, for the name. I wanted something that had to do with Westernism. So I had something like drivers, because, or drovers. It was drovers, because the guys that took the cattle up, you know, to Kansas City or wherever they went, they were called drovers. I thought that'd be good, because, you know, Cowboys was going, Mavericks was going, all that sort of thing. He took legends, and it's really terrific, those of you that haven't been there, because we have real legends in our office here, with Marcus and Nancy and Spud and of course me. And now we have an international legend. I mean, down there, we were there this last week, wonderful time we had with all his great friends down there. You can identify a person by his friends. Again, wonderful, wonderful. And the guy, he's like Pele in Brazil. The guy's Lalo down there. And then the headlines, Lalo, business of that. I mean, it's just crazy. And he's truly a national treasure there. And we think he is here in Dallas as well. And we wish him well. We know he's going to do great things. And it's just a pleasure to welcome a new legend to our organization.
When I got into coaching 23 years ago, I was a player for the New Jersey Nets for about a month, and I got a phone call from Bill Fitch. And he said, well, you're waived. So I started to thank him for the opportunity, and been on the roster for a month, but the guy come back from an injury. He said, no, just wait a second. He goes, if you're interested, you know, I only have one assistant coach. So I've got a coaching job, and I'd like to offer it to you if you're interested. So Eddie has a distinction, at least, of choosing not to continue his career. He wasn't waived and hired on the same phone call. So that's a distinction that I didn't have. This is a great day for Eddie. It's a great day for the legends. You know, once again, Donnie is doing something that's creative on the one hand. You know, bringing a guy like Eddie, who's familiar to this area, you know, as a player, as a personality. A couple of years ago, he gave Nancy Lieberman a chance to be the first female coach of a men's professional team, and that team was very successful. And this is going to be something that's going to work out well too. The thing about Eddie is he's a humble guy. He has love and respect for the game. I heard that, Mark. and he knows what he doesn't know. Now, I was with Larry Bird back in 1997 when he took over the head coaching job of the Indiana Pacers, and he had never coached a single day. And what he did was he got a couple of guys with some experience to do a lot of the teaching until he caught up. But what he said was, he said, look, I know what I don't know. What I do know is how the game should be played from the standpoint of intensity, passion, the kind of effort that people need to see if they're going to come pay money to watch a professional team play. Because, you know, I need you guys to do the X and O stuff, and then as I get it, you know, I can start teaching some of that stuff more. So this is an open opportunity for someone to step into a great assistant coaching situation with a guy that you know, is going to need that help, and he knows it. He and I have talked about this, and he knows the challenge that's ahead of him. But he's not fool enough to think that this is going to be easy. And again, he knows what he doesn't know. So Donnie's done a great job of getting players in here. Dell, this is on you now. You're the GM of the team. You got to get Eddie some players. But I'm very happy for Eddie. I only had the pleasure of coaching him for 1 year, but you know, he's a man's man. He shows up every day, and he makes you play. If you step on the court and Eddie Najera's out there and you're not ready to play, you're going to get knocked on your ass. And he's going to approach coaching the same way. So my hat's off to Donnie for having this vision. To Eddie for, you know, this is not an easy thing to do, just jump into a head coaching position. I mean, I give you a lot of credit. And this is going to be work, And it's going to be humbling at times, and it's going to be very rewarding at other times. But this is a great opportunity for you and this franchise. And I guess now, do I toss it to Eddie?
Yeah.
Okay.
Well,
What's that?
high five, toss it to
Toss it to Johnny Nelson. Thanks for having me.
You know, I'm old. And there's one thing I meant to finish my last little thing on is the job he's done up there because of the legends thing. If you come up there, every game, Donnie and his staff, and great people up there, have found people who are legends in the community, legends in this area, who have done something of significance for others. Gets them out in the middle of the floor before the game, gives them an award, and sometimes we have 2 or 3 people. The other team's sitting over there, when do we start this game? But we're honoring people, the little guys sometimes, but who have become legends because of the service they've given to others, teachers, firemen, policemen, anything that they've done. And it's just a wonderful thing that goes on out there. Besides that, we play ball.
Our focus really is to put the spotlight on people making a difference in the community. And I don't think anyone's made a difference like Eddie has, not just in our community here in North Texas, all over the United States. And every little kid across Latin America, Mexico in particular, can look to Eddie as an example of, you know what, he wasn't the fastest, he wasn't the best leaper, he wasn't the smartest, but it was his ticker. His heart is the reason that he forged out a 12-year career. That's the reason that he's going to be an amazing head coach in the D-League and hopefully in the NBA in the future. What I'd like to do right now is we'll take a photo opportunity and then we will open it up to Eddie for a statement and some questions. After the photo opportunity, unfortunately, Rick and Mark are going to have to leave, and they will be placed at the podium by Hall of Famer Nancy Lieberman and Spud Webb, Texas legend. So and we'll take questions. We also will be taking some questions from our friends and amigos and amigas in Mexico and Latinoamericano. How am I doing, Victor? That's my coach right there. So we'll have a photo op, and then we'll continue the program.
Do you guys want to stay in the podium so they can see the jersey? Does that work, Lynn?
There you go. There you go, guys. Here you go.
Wait, where's my manners? Evan, come on up here. Nancy and Spud, come on up here. Oh, and the great, I totally forgot, the great Marcus Haynes, ladies and gentlemen, the great Marcus Haynes.
Squish in here together. All right. Ready? Go. Good. Right and left. You gotta go right and left.
Thank you. Thanks, Coach.
Thank you, Rick. Thank you, Mark, for coming. It means a lot. As Nancy and Spud are making their way up, another announcement that we're really proud of. We really tried to have an impact in the world, and we've been fortunate enough to have one of our assistant coaches with the Texas Legends, Scott Fleming, who's been a long-time friend and a great coach, to take a position with the NBA and to be the head coach of the Indian men's basketball team. He will be departing next week for India. So, Coach, if you would stand up and be recognized, that's an amazing opportunity. Again, it is truly amazing, this little vehicle of basketball and the impact it can have globally. And speaking of global impact, how about a big round of applause for our man of the hour, Eddie Najera.
Where can I start now? A long time ago, obviously I came into a big city from Norman, where I graduated from the University of Oklahoma. I had a great career. And I was very nervous about making the big jump to the NBA because I didn't know anybody in the city. And obviously, at that time, I remember Donnie met me, and he took me around, showed me around the city, but I fell in love with the city completely. Then I started contributing to the Mavericks. I had a long career with them. Half of my NBA career, was here. And even when I was gone, obviously, my heart went to the Mavericks. I always consider myself a Maverick. And as soon as Donnie started talking to me about this unique opportunity, I was all over it. Spoke to my family members, spoke to friends. It just made perfect sense. I know it's going to be a scary journey ahead as a head coach, but I accept the challenge. I really believe that my experience in the NBA is definitely going to get me over the hump. Just like RC said, I need to get obviously a couple of assistant coaches with experience, but I still feel so comfortable because I'm going to have the support of Nancy. Obviously, my good old friend Dale is going to be there. And Donnie himself, with coaching experience, Spud knows the game, so I'm not scared at all. I think that it might be a scary situation, but personally, I'm excited, and I'm just gonna be myself. I'm gonna work my butt off to for these kids, for my players, for them to accomplish their dreams, which would be to get to the NBA. I think that right now it's been all about me, and yeah, I'm thankful for the opportunity. But as a coach, that's why I like to come in and help these guys, accomplish their goals. But I want to thank you, Donnie. Obviously, I want to thank everybody in here. Mark left, he kind of brought old memories. And now that he mentioned that, I thought it was the toughest audition for me, the toughest workout, I should say, because, knowing me, I was going to come out and beat whoever was in front of me. I was trying to get a spot for the Dallas Mavericks, and I see Mark guarding me, and I'm like, okay, so what do I do? I don't really beat the owner, right?
Dunk on it.
But I did. I didn't take it easy on him, and I think that's the respect that I earned with him. So I'm very thankful for being here. Thank you, all of you guys. Donnie didn't tell me it was going to be so many media here, but again, I think that this is going to be a journey, and I want to invite everybody to come along and hopefully support me. I also want to thank Evan for giving me the opportunity to become, to have a nice little piece of ownership. I think that eventually it makes perfect sense because my goals are, my personal goals are different, and I don't want to talk about that right now because it's all about the legends. But thank you, Evan. I want to thank my friend Victor for coming in here today, and I'm excited. So thank you once again. En español. Se volvió en español. ¿Qué les puedo decir? El día de ayer tuve una conferencia de prensa en la Ciudad de México, antier, perdón. Tuve la oportunidad de estar ahí con todos y darles a saber la visión que tengo en mi carrera. Tuve la oportunidad de estar con buenos amigos, muchos reporteros que me apoyaron muchísimo durante mi carrera, La verdad que el mensaje que traté de dejar es de que, pues la verdad no estoy triste por retirarme como jugador, estoy más emocionado de hacer la transición, como entrenador, estar trabajando junto con Donnie, me está dando la oportunidad de enseñarme lo que es el negocio de la NBA, pero también ser el entrenador de las leyendas, sé que hay mucha responsabilidad y sé que voy a estar súper ocupado, pero el mensaje fue muy claro, Yo creo que todos están emocionados por mí mismo y pues la verdad que ahora comienzo a trabajar, comienzo una aventura y esperemos que sea una aventura muy, muy larga. Did you guys get that?
Yeah.
Eduardo, abriste una puerta, sorry, I'm going to ask in Spanish for TV. Eduardo, abriste una puerta muy importante para como jugador en la NBA. ¿crees que ahora como entrenador puedas abrir todavía más la puerta, dar oportunidad que vengan a los Legends a preparar muchachos para algún día llegar a la NBA?
Por supuesto, yo creo que la puerta está abierta como jugador, ya viene otro mexicano como Gustavo y viene jugando muy bien. Pues ahora sí, mi objetivo principal sería usar esto como una plataforma, las leyendas de Legends, es una buena oportunidad para mí y no solamente para mí, sino también para otros entrenadores que sigan el mismo paso y tal vez dar la oportunidad a los que se lo merecen también de venir a ver lo que se tiene que hacer para poder llegar hasta donde estoy.
Jugaste siempre con gran pasión, motivación, lo decía Donnie Nelson. ¿Qué tipo de básquetbol vas a tratar de implementar ahora con tus Legends?
Fíjate que pues ahorita no le he puesto mucha atención a eso porque tengo como a 10 entrenadores diciéndome lo que tengo que hacer. And this is a true story. I got like 10 different coaches, like obviously telling me how to coach. Eventually I'm gonna have to kind of get my own identity. Pero ya tengo algo en mente, ¿no? Ya tengo, se podría decir, lo básico. Voy a tratar de dejar las cosas muy simples. Y la verdad, pues tengo la confianza, ¿no? La tuve como jugador, la tengo que tener como entrenador. Y tengo que implementar esos fundamentos que usé como jugador a entrenador.
Buenos días.
Buenos días.
What does it mean to you to become the first Hispanic-born person to become a head coach in the NBA?
I mean, it means a lot. I'm so proud of my heritage. I'm proud of being a Mexican, born in Mexico. Actually, obviously I lived all the way until I was 17. It means a lot, but with that, you know, there's a lot of responsibility. I know, I understand, but I think that if I focus on just coaching, and if I work really hard, I think that I'm gonna represent my country the right way. They're expecting my work ethic, all the same fundamentals that I had as a player. They expecting to implement that as a coach, you know, and I'm gonna do that. So I think that the country's gonna be following me now. They're gonna be following the Legends. We were talking about the press conference. You know, obviously they knew who the Mavericks were, but once they heard about the Legends, now it became a Latino thing, Mexican thing, and now we're gonna have their support. I know, because that's who we are. I mean, we're very loyal to athletes. I think that we're gonna have that support, and hopefully I don't let them down.
Was it something you wanted to do when you was a kid coming up to be a coach?
It actually developed. I developed into. I mean, I didn't necessarily was driven about coaching. I mean, obviously my dreams were all about playing in the NBA and representing my country the way it's supposed to be. And it just kind of hit me the last couple of years. I went from being one of the best teams to, I mean, it's fair to say, one of the worst teams in the NBA. And I had the opportunity to learn from different coaches. And that situation was Larry, and Larry gave me the opportunity to be sort of a player coach. And all of a sudden, you know, I have my teammates calling me Coach Maher right now. I'm like, well, you know, they're respecting me enough at the NBA level, so I think that it should be something that I need to explore. Obviously, once I spoke to Donnie, Evan, everybody in here, they got me really excited about it, and you know, they're behind my backyard, I should say. I live in that area, and it should be a lot of fun. But it doesn't necessarily mean that I dream about this, but now it's actually kind of going towards that, because once I'm in this situation, the person that I am, I'm such a competitor, but now I want to become one of the greatest coaches in the history of the game. And luckily, you don't need the athletic ability here.
What are you saying?
If Dale could do it, anyways, hopefully I answer your question. Yes. Of course. I'm sorry, I can hardly hear you.
Speak up, Robin.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay. Basically, what are my expectations as a coach? You know, year one, I think that as long as I get my team playing as hard as they possibly can, I truly believe that as a coach, chemistry means a lot on the defensive end. And offensively, I think I figured out. I think once we decide on who's going to be the assistant coaches, I know that Dale has a million plays. I can figure it out offensively, but my goal will be to have these kids playing as hard as they can, to be a rebounding team, defensive-minded, a mean team on the basketball court for the first year. And obviously, offensively, I wanted to be free, up-tempo. You know, I'm not going to run a lot of plays to begin with, but that's my expectations. You know, for the first year, to help them, like I said, you know, get to the next level. En español, si lo puedo volver a repetir, el primer año voy a tratar de tener a mis jugadores jugando lo más fuerte que se pueda. Va a ser un estilo de básquetbol más bien defensivo, en el cual yo creo que debemos de tener una química bastante buena dentro de la defensa, y voy a tratar de ser ese tipo de entrenador, ¿no? Ya después de la transición a la ofensiva con la ayuda de diferentes entrenadores, personalidades, con la ayuda de mis asistentes, y yo creo que si hago eso vamos a tener un año exitoso.
Eddie and Donnie, feel free to jump in this too. We mentioned that you also have a role with Donnie assisting in, I guess, player personnel decisions and so forth. How will that work? What will your role be?
Eddie will be my right hand, and he'll be assisting me in all major decisions with the Mavericks. We had a really nice experience with Michael Finley, you know, over the last couple of months, and Eddie and Michael, who played together, and really, this is really kind of neat. Sarah and I were talking before we walked in. It's really neat to see, you know, some of the guys that started their careers here in Eddie's case, and Michael that was traded here and spent a significant amount of time to come back, and not only live here, but to come back and be part of the organization. And we take great pride in that, because great franchises are built on great people, and those are two of the best human beings I've ever been around. So Eddie will be, we haven't determined a title. In fact, Mark's not big on titles, as you know, but he'll be in the draft rooms, and he'll be in not only selecting players with the Texas Legends, but he'll be involved in all major decisions with the Dallas Mavericks as well.
And so you said Finley has a similar type role in that
Yeah,
as well?
Michael again has, before the draft, he was in, you saw him in the draft room and such, and he's winding his career down as well. And so to have two great Mavericks, you know, in the history of our team, in the mode of Orlando Blackman and Brad Davis, and you go right down the list, it's what great franchises are built on. So yes, both Eddie and Michael will be involved significantly in the decision making of the Mavericks.
And Eddie, just your thoughts on having that sort of dual role? You'll have your hands full as a head coach.
Well, obviously, it's a great opportunity. Donnie, he's done a great job with the Mavericks, of course, you know, and to be close to him and learning about the business side, is going to be an adventure, you know, and I believe that it's a great opportunity, and I'm just going to, more so than having an opinion, I think I'm just going to be listening to everything that is going to be going on. I'm going to try to be a sponge, you know, trying to learn everything that he's throwing out at me. And, you know, in the legend side, of course, you know, they're already involving me in sort of, you know, selecting players. They're showing me video on different guys. And obviously, it's too premature to kind of start building a team. I know we have guys coming back from last year, but you know, once we get the the roster, you know, and they give you something to work with, you know, I step into that role. But in the meantime, I mean, I feel like I'm already sort of making decisions, you know, when it comes to players, and it's a great experience, and I'm loving it so far.
Eduardo, ¿cómo fue la transición de jugador a convertirte a coach? ¿No? ¿Qué hubo un proceso, algunos cursos o cómo fue?
Sí, tuve algunos cursos, la experiencia que tuve en diferentes equipos donde me dejaron ser jugador, entrenador, un equipo de Charlotte, eso me abrió los ojos. Hice un curso que la NBA da a los jugadores de NBA para poder hacer esa transición, más bien para facilitar esa transición y la verdad que también ahí me abrió los ojos, ¿no? Para poder seguir adelante con este trabajo y volverlo también mi sueño, ¿no?
This is for Del Harris in Spanish, if you don't mind. Coach Harris.
By the way, I almost tell you, he was from Mexico City. Now you got a lot of fans, I'll tell you. And even Donnie, don't get fooled. And I didn't know he understood that much. Because, you know, we were like talking, he was like catching up. I was like, whoa.
You wouldn't have been saying some of the stuff.
You're right. I was waiting for Del to clear the room, but with Donnie, I was like, I don't feel comfortable speaking Spanish. He understood everything I said. Luckily, he was all positive.
Coach Harris, ¿qué tipo de entrenador ve usted o anticipa en Eduardo Najera? Usted lo conoce desde que llegó aquí en el 2000.
Creo que él va a dirigir como un jugador con mucha inteligencia y mucha fuerza y trabajando muy duro en todo.
¿Cuál cree que
What that was, he's going to be the kind of coach that he was as a player. Intelligent, play hard, give everything he has.
Por otro lado, coach, ¿qué va a hacer usted para tratar de llevar a Eduardo al siguiente nivel? Usted tiene experiencia en NBA, usted tiene experiencia como asistente, selecciones nacionales. ¿Qué crea que es en lo que Eduardo tiene que trabajar más para prepararse?
Él ha tenido mucha experiencia como un jugador en NBA con dirigentes muy buenos como Don Nelson y George Karl, Larry Brown, Rick Carlisle y Paul Silas. Y esta experiencia es muy importante, pero él va a tener su solo estilo, yo creo. Mucho trabajo en México. Gran celebración, fiesta, parties, you understand.
Gracias, coach.
You, Victor.
Bienvenido, coach. Mi pregunta es, ¿qué es el mejor recuerdo que guarda del baloncesto?
Son tantos los recuerdos que si ahorita pudiera nombrar uno, yo creo que sería mi primer juego con los Mavericks de Dallas. Esa fue la mejor memoria, una de las mejores memorias, porque pues tenía, por el estilo de juego que tenía toda la gente estaba parada, aplaudiendo, estaban emocionados, con mucha energía, y creo yo que eso me dio también un rol dentro del equipo, y a raíz de eso tuve una carrera muy larga. He was asking me what was my best memory, of course, as a basketball player. There's so many of them. It's a long career. Wish I could have played for 20 years, but I think that my biggest memories, and I was telling Donnie and Dale, my very first exhibition game actually, so it was the Houston Rockets, the team that drafted me, and I remember Nelly selling everybody, and I was the last one. But I came in and obviously I played, usually I was me, and had a good game, and but the biggest memory was how the people reacted, you know, and sort of gave me that role, you know, to come in and just play with a lot of energy. They gave me that role, and as a result, you know, the fans kind of, I guess it's safe to say they kind of gave me that role, and as a result, you know, I had a long career. So.
Let me tell you what. One of the best memories I have of Eddie is we were playing against Houston, against Yao Ming. Yao Ming was killing us. And so anyway, Nelly's going crazy, and we can't get Yao Ming stopped. And he says, Eddie, you get in there, and you get in front of him, just don't let him get the ball. We were down about 14 points in Houston. Eddie gets in there, actually shuts him down, just totally shuts him down. He turns the game around, we win the game by about 10 points. And later on, I coached Yao Ming in the 2004 Olympics, and he says, don't ever let that little guy learn get in. I hate that.
That's a great story.
Any other questions?
Hey Eddie, they've been talking about this for years, about maybe someday having an NBA franchise in Mexico City. Would you campaign or champion that idea, or a D-League team?
Well, yeah, obviously that was sort of my dream. I didn't really want to touch on it because, I mean, this is in the future, of course, but I truly believe that in the 90s, Mexico was already prepared to have a pro team. And now that I got to know important people, politicians, you know, it just kind of clicked, and I know that, and I don't want to really talk about this for a whole lot, but the country kind of has that bad reputation as right now, but I believe that with the new change coming up, it's gonna open up that door again, you know, to eventually have an NBA franchise, of course, in Mexico. I'm talking about 5, 10, 20 years, but it would be something that I would like to explore. That's the reason this makes perfect sense, you know, being part owner of Legends, being the head coach. I mean, working closely with Donnie with the Mavericks. I mean, it's sort of a great plan, and eventually I can get the experience. And so when I go down to perhaps my friends, I can say like, hey, this is the way you do things, and hopefully they buy the idea, and hopefully they can make it happen.
Después de tomar experiencia con los Legends, en un futuro pensarías al primer equipo. ¿Tienes la ambición de llegar a dirigir a los Mavericks?
Claro, no, es el objetivo, uno de los objetivos personales que tengo, pero pues ahorita es una buena plataforma y espero que esta experiencia con las leyendas sea fenomenal y la verdad me haga la diferencia para continuar, ¿no?
Going from player to coach, really you had a lot of mentors along the way. Who were some of your most impactful mentors or that influence will help you transition?
This two men sitting over here didn't have the pleasure of playing with Spud, but he has experience. Nancy, of course, she's a legend, and I got the support of them. I'm sure that I'm going to be similar to them as a coach. And also, you know, I had the opportunity to learn from Nelly, which to me, he was brilliant. So was Rick Carlisle, Larry Brown, and George Carl. But, you know, I'm taking a lot from them, and hopefully, eventually I can sort of figure it out on my own, and like I said, have my own identity, and with the help of these two guys, I think that it should be easy to make the transition.
Any other questions? Thank you guys very much. These guys will all be available for some one-on-ones if you guys want to do some more interviews. Thank you.
Great.
You ready to go all the way up to Niagara?
Oh yeah, just for you too. No, it's